Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome all you two babies to the UGC NET question paper analysis. Hello, good evening. How was the exam? So it's like, it's just started on 31 and then it's now 5th of January. Almost, I think all the subjects are over. I think one more day to go. So we'll start with the paper one question analysis. And basically, we will do the questions asked on the English literature paper. Yes, and then we'll have paper two also for English literature. Okay, question paper analysis. How are you all? Good evening, everyone. I can see the chats on the YouTube. Well, good. How did you write the exam? Good evening. Good evening. How did you write the exam? Was it good? Did all the questions that you expected came? How was it like? Paper one was easy. Oh, very good. Paper one is good. Okay. Paper one. So that makes me very happy that it was very good. Okay. Good, good. And so many students told that all those questions was the questions that we discussed in the PYQ sessions in the classrooms, in the PYQ sessions in the classes, revision sessions, and the marathon sessions. All those sessions were very useful. They told it's not like yeah. Obviously, it will be application level questions. It won't be direct questions anymore. It won't be direct questions anymore because they need people, those who know to apply their knowledge into real life situations. That's what. Okay. So it they won't ask direct questions anymore. They need the application. They will ask the application level questions only. So, guys, can we start with the question paper analysis? This is just paper one I'm going to tell you. So, I'll just tell what are the questions that we expected did come or any new areas that they explored. NTAs, there are new areas that they are going to explore every time that they will explore. So I will start with the first questions. Yeah. For unit wise, I will go and then I will just discuss the the questions and all. It's just like the students have told me what all things came. So you can also add all those students in the YouTube live. I can see your chats here. Yeah, good. So the paper one, the first unit, it was teaching aptitude. I think the questions came from the types of evaluation, and I think students told me that some questions was asked from the lesson plan. So teaching aptitude, basically it is easy only because you have basic ideas from no the teaching part, and also it's very easy that when you hear the when you have see the questions also, it will be easy. So in teaching aptitude, these two parts were asked. No, from evaluation, there was a types of evaluation. There was lesson plan. I heard from someone that there was questions from digital initiatives also. Maybe like we can include that in teaching aptitude as well as in ICT. So there was questions from teaching digital initiative. So anyway, it's like no every from every unit we are expecting 5 questions, but every time it may not be the same. But maybe like they can ask different patterns also. So from teaching aptitude also type of evaluation asked, and then lesson plan also. Okay, lesson plan. And then coming to the next one, what we have is research aptitude. Research aptitude, it's what we expected. Some of the questions that we expected came. It was like quantitative and qualitative research. The types of research came. Okay, the types of research came. And see null hypothesis every time when we discuss when I discuss the paper one questions, I have told you null hypothesis is very important and all. And p-value, it's actually like they have started asking the testing part, hypothesis testing part, and regarding with the statistical measures. No, it's like p-value they have asked before. That means regarding with the correlation coefficient value. That is, we always discuss the correlation coefficient value. That is -1 to +1. Zero correlation, positive correlation. That is actually the p-value. Okay, but the hypothesis testing. That means the analysis or the hypothesis testing or the statistical measures they have introduced as a new areas, I think, in research aptitude for the English literature people. So maybe like we can in the next coming no exam, in the next exam, we can more focus on the hypothesis testing. But as we all studied the sampling types of research, types of variables, you are all familiar with that. But so citations also, I think there were questions on citations. So we can more focus on hypothesis testing from the on the next exam also. That is what you have for research aptitude. So it was easy in the case of research aptitude. For comprehension, it's like just like I have an idea that students told that it was a very easy comprehension asked. It's not like a difficult comprehension. It was a very easy comprehension that you have. Okay. It was very easy to comprehend also. Very easy to understand and then write the questions, write the answers. And in communication, the chronology. So, like in paper two in English literature, basically they ask the chronology. So, and they have transferred or transposed it to the paper one also. They have asked, usually they ask the chronology of the universities and all, but this time they have asked the chronology of communication models. They have no communication models for a long time. They didn't ask. And the last time, and also I don't remember they asked the communication models, but they came back again to communication models. It's like that, like that. See, whenever something is there, no, when it is like following something, maybe like PYQ. That's what I told you. Don't go PYQs. Don't go and do PYQs before 5 years or 6 years. It's like the trend is changing, pattern is changing every time. Maybe like last time they have asked something regarding with maybe like in research aptitude they have asked sampling for continuous two shift, or maybe like two terms, two tenors they have asked the sampling. Maybe like they will shift because if you know that the PYQ, okay, sampling, you will study that. So NTA is very fond of asking different types of questions that you didn't study. So maybe like you didn't focus on types of research. So the next time they will ask types of research because last time they didn't ask. And then this two times they didn't ask sampling. So next time they will ask sampling. That's what. So you should know it's like a comprehensive knowledge you should have, a holistic knowledge you should have about every subject. That's what. Everything you should touch. It's not like you study just a vague idea or a scratch of idea that you should have. Everything you should touch, a holistic idea you should have. Yeah, I'll tell the expected cut of that at the end, guys. So no worries. And coming to that is unit 4 communications, that is chronology of communication models that is being asked. And the next one that we have is mathematical aptitude. Those the area which the English literature people think it's very hard, but very happy that many students, our offline online students have told that it was easy. I think the same I can expect from the YouTube babies too. Because we have discussed a lot of questions in mathematical aptitude. It's like it should be a cakewalk, I think. After all, doing all those hard questions and then all those worksheets. See, number series, definitely I told you there will be a question, but it will be hard, not a very easy one. There is a new no area introduced that they asked a question from mean. That is a very higher statistical level question. It is not mathematical aptitude. Actually, it is a question from statistics that you can have. They have the students were little bit distracted by seeing the symbols of mean and all, like sigma and all they saw. So no worries, but it is not like out of 50 you can attempt every 50. It's not possible. Probably you can attempt maximum to 40-45 questions. It's okay. So there may be out of the box questions. So from the next batch onwards or the next time onwards, we'll study this also. This time I have included the finding of the volumes, areas, and all. I have given them the formulas. Last time they asked that, but this time they didn't ask that. So that's what they keep changing. And mathematical aptitude, they can ask anything. And last time the speed, distance, and time they asked questions from that, but this time they didn't. So and from the recent times they were asking simple interest and compound interest. So this time also they asked a question from simple interest and compound interest, but the problem was that it was mixed question. But that we did in the class also. We have discussed the difference between simple interest and compound interest. And there was a question regarding, I heard that there was a question from the arrangement of number system. So when I start in the classes and all, I will start from the number systems. I'll definitely deal with the prime numbers, composite numbers, real number systems and all. Now students, those who know will be asking like, sir, these are all basics. Do we need that? Yeah, they can ask from the basics too. See, there were arrangement of number systems, prime numbers, composite numbers, real numbers and all. So better you should know which are the types of numbers. Maybe like in mathematical aptitude, they can ask questions like this. Okay. Simple interest and compounders we expected, and we know the formulas. We know how to do that. It's very expected question. It was easy. Yes, and then the next one, what we have is Unit 6 logical reasoning. And I expect that logical reasoning was a easy thing for you because fallacies, we have studied fallacies, we have studied fallacies very clearly. You know that what is, basically that non-formal fallacies or informal fallacies that you know. And the square of opposition, definitely students in our offline and online students told that square of opposition was an easy question that they had. Basically, from the statements, they were able to analyze the answer and then, but it was a little tricky one. But our students was able to crack that or track that square of opposition. I think it is same with the YouTube babies also. And some questions were from the reasoning. I think it was from, yeah, it was actually the truth and the validity, and I think from the reasoning part also. And see the pattern. Last time they have asked a lot of questions from Indian logic. I think this time they have just no asked one question from Indian logic. Okay, just it's like changing. I told you. I have told you. Just changing the pattern itself. The next time maybe like they'll ask more questions. Last time there were I think 3 or 4 questions from Indian logic and just 1 or 2 from logical reasoning. And now it's exactly changed. 4 from logical reasoning and 1 from Indian logic. See, that's how the pattern changes. So you should. That's why you should have a holistic approach. Okay. This time, luckily, I have told the students that you don't more focus on the Indian logic part. If you are not understanding, okay, leave it. So just only one question came. Thank God. That's what. Luckily. And so that fallacy, square of opposition, all those things we have dealt with reasoning, nothing new came from logical reasoning. All those expected part only it came. And from data interpretation, this was the first and foremost tension for me, for all those English literature graduates, postgraduates that I have. When we have the offline and online batch, when they see data interpretation, usually it will come as the first question. And if it is very tough, the presence of mind, all those presence of mind will go away. So, but happily or luckily, it is the DI part was easy. All those things. Actually, when they say easy, it is not like I feel that the question is easy. Actually, they have the offline people and also the YouTube babies. We have done a very hard questions we have done. So from that, those data interpretation, it will feel easy for you. That's what basic calculations, numerical calculations was there. Average, sum, difference, percentage increase, decrease. That's what it was very easy tabular data that you can interpret. So that is data interpretation. Luckily, it was easy this time. So the next one, it is Unit 8, Information Communication Technology, ICT was there. And in that, a lot of questions that I can remember, it is conversion asked, primary and secondary memory, RAM, ROM, volatile and non-volatile memory, it was asked. TV channels, mass media times, full forms. No, there are a lot of questions from ICTC. It's actually like the trend is, I've got only a less questions from teaching aptitude. But see, a lot of questions from ICT the students can remember. That's why. It will shift a paper one. All those technology, AI and all are coming into the limelight, and then obviously they will ask all these. They need prospective teachers, those who know about all those technology and all. That's what. So if you go and become an assistant professor, you should know all these types. All those ICT parts and all regarding with the digital initiatives and all. So that was regarding with the ICT. It's all expected one, and all syllabus we cover we have covered it. And in marathon revisions also we have discussed all those things. It's all expected one, we don't have any out of the box questions from the information, communication, and technology. And coming to people development and environment, it's actually like, it's like a dynamic portion that you have. Syllabus is also like vast. You cannot study everything that is in PDE because but one thing that is very sure that you can study about the environment protocols, and they ask the chronological order. So that all that we have learned. Greenhouse gases, it's all sure. But history of coal formation, India's ethanol blending, key objectives and all, it's all like, it's a dynamic portion that you have. Maybe like you cannot attempt, you can guess and come, that's what. there will be questions like that. I told you, after 50 questions, you may be able to attempt 40 or 45. It's okay. But you see, protocols, every time they ask protocols. The last trend was like regarding with SDG, MDG, but they have stopped asking. Now they have focused on the act, okay, because you should be more aware of that. Means as becoming an assistant professor or a research assistant or a research guy, you should more available of the environment acts and protocols and all. So because it is a current issue now. So that's what they are more focusing on. So greenhouse gases and all. It is like, current events or current issues that's going on. So that's what we have from people development and environment. It's all what we expected. Some one or two questions which from the out of the box or not cannot be from the out of the box. It's in the syllabus because as it is environment, they can ask anything from the environment part or from the development part. The last one that we have is Unit 10, Higher Education. NEP 2020, it was us, no? Short part that we have. Every time I will tell NEP 2020 is in the limelight now. So obviously they will ask about that. And the chronological orders of NAC, I told you because UGC, AICT, NAC and all, they are asking that because the constitution or the regulatory bodies in the higher education system you should know. And definitely you should know everything in detail, you should know, not a vague idea you should have, in detail you should have. And obviously ancient universities in the syllabus. So all things what we have expected in higher education only, it came for the question. So these are just the analysis of paper 1 that I have for the NTA net for the English literature people. So I think it was like it is like easy, moderate, different opinions are there, easy, moderate, and all. So now here is Setu and Ankita to handle the paper 2 question analysis. They are ready with the analysis and handing over to you. Yes, thank you to babies and thank you guys. Yes.
Thank you, Jobin. Good evening, everyone. I know most of you are feeling a bit unsettled right now because the exam just ended today. That feeling is very natural. But before we analyze anything, I want you to think for a moment and remember one thing. Right after an exam, our mind remembers only difficult questions. And we tend to forget the ones we answered confidently. So, first, let us, calm down and look at this paper in a very objective manner. So, don't worry thinking about how you did the examination. No, like it's done, and here we are trying to analyze a paper based on like what we have collected from our students, and it's not the exact one because we don't remember those questions, but we'll do it. Yeah, shall we begin, Ankita? Yeah.
Yes. So as Dr. Sethulakshmi said that in our session tonight, we are just trying to give you an overview of the questions that came in the exam today based on the feedback that we have collected from our students who appeared for the exam today. So first of all, I hope my screen is visible to you all. Yes. So one by one, we will try to walk you through those areas from where questions came in the exam. So in the area of British literature, we got to see questions from Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Then questions came from the Duchess of Malfi of Webster. Then a match the following question was there from Francis Bacon's works. And then we get to see questions from G.B. Shaw's Pygmalion. Then Congreve's The Way of the World. Samuel Beckett's trilogy of Molloy, Maloney-Dyes, and Unnameable. Then Murphy, it's a novel by Beckett. Dickens's novel, Bleak House, a question from the Bleak House was there as well. Then Empedocles on Etna. Then quote from Shakespeare's Othello. So these are the areas or the periods or the authors from which questions came in British literature. So they have covered quite a wide range, as you can see. They have taken from Chaucer, Shakespeare, Webster, Bacon, then G.B. Shaw, Beckett, Samuel Beckett, Congreve, then Victorian novelist Dickens. So they have covered almost, they have asked questions from almost all the periods of British literature, right? And they have asked many questions of chronology, fill in the blanks. The students were also saying that many questions in the form of assertion and reasoning were also there in the exam. And they wanted to know that if the students really know the things in depth, many minute things were asked, right? Yes.
Yeah, British literature had a good number of questions, but notice the balance. There were tricky ones. As Ankita was saying, there were questions on chronology of text, of course, line identification, incorrect character relationships, but there were also straightforward questions like from Chaucer, from Shakespeare's quotations, Bacon's essays. So it is again a mix. Good number of questions, but there is again a balance. Yeah.
Again, lines chronology. So this time we got to see a twist that various quotes from the texts were given, and then you had to arrange them in the correct chronology. So you had to guess the text and then arrange them in the correct order, right? And so questions of chronology were there, lots and lots of questions of chronology. So they tried trying to just test your memory, that how well you can remember things. See, another chronology question where the lines of 5 poems were given, including On His Blindness of Milton. So a new twist where they're giving lines and then you have to arrange those lines in the correct chronology as per their years of emergence, right? So chronology has again emerged as a very important and favorite topic of NTA, right? Next.
And we are sure most of you have answered several of these questions correctly without much doubt.
Questions came from the characters in Match the Following, where you had to match the characters with the texts and all. Hardy's novel chronology was there. Hardy, Dickens. So questions came from a Victorian period. Especially we know that these types of questions are very well known in net. Where they ask the years, the chronology of various novels, right? Then again, quote and chronology. These two were the very dominant patterns that we got to see this time as well. Quotes and chronology, where they asked a quote from Virginia Woolf. They had given a quote from Virginia Woolf, right? Okay. Then they also asked the chronology of these works. Dryden's Religio Medici, Brown's Religio Medici, Essays of Elia of Lamb, Four Edges of Poetry, Utopia, Terror of Action. So chronology of these works were also asked. Then they asked about the three silent revolution in England and which was wrong among those four options. They asked about Northrop Frye's Anatomy of Criticism, and you had to match that which genre was corresponding to which season. Very famously, yes, Northrop Frye has talked about this, that which season corresponds, I mean, which genre corresponds to which season. So that was asked. Then a question came from G.B. Shaw's Arms and the Man. Then, which is not an example of dystopian novel. Then a question was there from Kailyard School, and also order of appearance of phrases.
Yeah, all these are important, and definitely they asked one question from the movement. Yeah.
So Francis Bacon, G.B. Shaw, they asked lots of questions from these authors this time. Right. Then we come to the questions from Indian and Dalit literatures. A question was there from R.K. Narayan's novel. Then a question was there from Sharan Kumar Limbale's Aesthetics of Dalit Literature. Then A.K. Ramanujan, Sharat Chandra, Jimmy Avisa, Nissim Ezekiel.
Yeah, that's in the form of the following question.
Match the following. Then Anita Desai's works, a question was there from Anita Desai, and Kuntaka's Vakrokti Jivitam. Yes. So these are the areas from which questions came.
But in Indian and Dalit literature, questions, they came directly from familiar authors. This time they asked questions from familiar authors, and of course, questions they were from concept oriented rather than obscure obscure area or authors as such. So again, directly theory-based question from Vakrokti, Kuntaka's Vakrokti Jivitam. Anita, there's again another favorite of UGC. So questions were direct, but they asked these questions in the form of assertion, reason, and match the following question. So that was the trickiest part.
Yeah. Next, we come to literary theory, criticism, and cultural studies. Again, very popular authors and theorists they asked from. They asked about Pierre Bourdieu's habitus, Freud's ego, superego, then essays, film chronology, I.A. Richards' literary critique titles, Jonathan Dollymore, Alan Sealfield's cultural materialism is a very important work. You all know about these things. Then match the following or match the meanings came, I think, of grand narrative, feral, then gaze, digests. So maybe these terms were given and they had to match these terms with their meanings. Such questions have come previously also in net. So where they give you a chart. On the one hand, you have some terms from theory and criticism, and on the other hand, you have their meanings, where you have to match the meanings, the terms with their meanings. Then questions came from popular imagination, then Raymond Williams, and see, television culture, Q.D. Lewis, fiction ready publisher. These are very, very prominent areas these days in cultural studies. So very expected areas also, we can say.
And this time more came from media studies as well, I guess, like from cultural studies itself, from this category, from media studies and network studies.
And very prominent and expected areas. We keep
Yeah,
expecting
exactly.
those questions and authors.
And we
Three
discussed
women's
most
texts.
of these questions during our marathon sessions as well. I.A.
Yes.
Richards' works, cultural materialism, and all these concepts, and yeah.
Then tools for reading poetry, linguistic foundation, all these questions came. And I think this theory portion was quite easy. We have
Compared
covered
to,
these
yeah,
things.
I think so, because compared to the last time, I guess this time it was more easy. That's what we got the feedback from students on a similar note.
Okay. Then a question came from, according to Jeremy Hawthorne, which have prepared the ground for the development of theory of gaze. Again, we have discussed a lot about these things, like be it John Berger's ways of seeing, or the scopophilia of Laura Mulvey, or the clinical gaze of Michel Foucault, and all these things. We have talked a lot about these things. Then questions came from Sergio's linguistic sign, signifier and signified. Very easy. Course from course in general linguistics. Phases of Elaine Showalter. Very easy. You all know these things. Then who said about culture as one of the two? Kalyani ma'am just asked this question on the very last day. I remember 3rd January. So